Everybody, this is Cody Bateman coming to you live out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Welcome to this week's edition of Relationship Marketing Weekly Show. We are really super excited about this show today. I've got a very special guest on the call today, coming all the way from Massachusetts. Her name is Nancy Zare, and she wanted to make sure I said Nancy Zare rhymes with care. That was super cool. Nancy Zare is a sales psychologist based out of Massachusetts. Nancy, welcome to the show today.
Hey, thank you, Cody. I appreciate it.
Nancy Zare rhymes with care. That's super cool. So, yeah, we have people that are kind of chiming in right now. Give them a second to come in. They're saying hello to us. So we just kind of say hi back. We have people coming in from really all over the world right now. I've noticed some people from Australia, New Zealand, mostly in the United States and Canada. You gotta love technology, how everybody just kind of comes together for these shows, and a lot of people can't make it on the live show, but they'll get on the show throughout the next several days. So there's going to be a lot of viewers on here. I know a lot of people are very excited to hear from you. In fact, whenever you say, okay, Dr. Nancy Zare, a sales psychologist. I mean, those are two of my favorite things. I love sales and I love psychology. So when I know I'm going to talk to a sales psychologist, it's like, wow. So what is a sales psychologist?
So I think I may have made up that term because I am a psychologist with a PhD. I'm also a person with over 25 years of sales experience, both business to business and business to consumer sales. So when I started my business 5 years ago, Rapport Builders, and I end it with a Z for Zare, that rhymes with care, Rapport Builders, I combined my two passions just like you. I love psychology. I love trying to understand how people behave, what makes them tick. And at the same time, I know that sales is such an important skill. We're all of us sell, even when we don't think we're selling.
Right.
When we are influencing our child to pick up their clothing or do homework, or, negotiating with our spouse or our partner about where to eat, all of this is sales.
Yeah, that's right.
So I help people get into the mind of the prospect and speak their language so that they open the door to good negotiations.
That is super cool. So I'm in sales, and you might take me on as a client. You're basically a coach helping me to become a better salesperson. And I think a lot of it speaks for itself in the name of your company, Rapport Builders. So you basically teach salespeople how to build rapport. And by building rapport, obviously it makes you better at sales and providing service for people. So how do you go about doing it? Let's say that I come to you and say, hey, Nancy, I'm in the relationship marketing business. I sell relationship marketing tools to businesses on how to follow up with clients. And I'm going to go call on, car dealerships. And it's the people that I call on are in my cool market. So I know them and they know of me, but they don't necessarily know and like me yet. So a warm market person I would consider to be someone that already knows, likes, and trusts me. Those are people that it's pretty easy for me to get in and have a connection with. The cool market are people that may know me, or I may slightly know them. I've met them somewhere or whatever, but the like and trust part's not quite there yet. So I got to still warm that person up. But I'm going to call on them and go in and see if I can be of service to them. So how would you coach me on how to go in and meet? Like, I make the appointment, I go meet with the owner of the car dealership. He's in my cool market, so I know a little bit about him, but not much. What would you teach me to do? How should I approach that guy?
Even before you made that first appointment, Cody, if you were my client, I would have coached you and prescribed to you what style this person was, personality style, so that you could know what approach to make. Should you email him? Should you make a phone call? Should you send a text message? There are different ways that each person wants to receive information and process it. So I probably would have given you some guidance before you even made that first appointment. But assuming that you're there at the appointment, again, some research, some homework ahead of time. Go on LinkedIn, go on Facebook, look up this gentleman, look up the website, because there'll be clues about the person's style and how it is you can best approach them. I am a big believer in the platinum rule, and I'm sure you're familiar with the golden rule. Do unto others as I would want done for myself. Platinum rule reverses it. Do unto others as they want done. So this makes me have to be sensitive to what that other person wants. And I have to put myself in their shoes, look through their lens, and speak their language in order to put them at ease, build the trust, and open the door to doing business together.
So what you're saying is there's an actual science to the way in which you ought to approach that person in the prospecting process.
You know what? I couldn't have said it better. There is a science, and research has been done on it. It dates back to the era of Hippocrates, when he said that there were 4 temperaments, 4 different personality styles. And lo and behold, here it is back in, where we are today, and it still holds true.
Yeah. So I talk a lot about, and I know there's a lot of different personality studies out there. There's the color systems and all that. Mm-hmm. I really kind of dummy it down and make it super simple. There's the right side of the brain, the left side of the brain. The right side of the brain is big picture, visionary, kumbaya type people, and the left side of the brain is more analytical processes. And you really do need to know who you're talking to, because if I go in as a right brain person and do my kumbaya, hey, the world's wonderful, to that analytical person, it's not going to land real well. So you have ways that you work with your clients to kind of help them know who they're talking to, which
within 30 to 60 seconds, I help my clients know the answer to whether it's right brain or left brain, whether they should be singing kumbaya or giving facts and figures.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So you use a relationship marketing system that we offer here. We have a company called Send Out Cards, and we offer a relationship marketing system. And you actually use this system as in your own sales and marketing and promoting rapport builders. So tell us just a couple of things that you do, sprinkling relationship marketing into your prospecting.
Well, if I may, I'm going to tell a quick story. I go networking, as many people do, in order to meet new prospects, my cool market, And I was at this trade show, and at the trade show, there was a demonstration of a product, and I received the demonstration, and I so happened the owner was there. So she and I struck up a conversation, and she said, I could use your services. Call me tomorrow morning. Called her tomorrow morning, just as she suggested, and I got voicemail. Not uncommon, right? And a couple days later, because she hadn't followed up, I was about to call again when I said, I've got this system of appreciation. She gave me a service. Why don't I send a card and brownies, not just for her, but for the entire staff? And I did. And approximately a week later, just the day that you would have thought the delivery would have happened, I got a call. And she said, you're hired. I hadn't even told her what my price was. Wow.
And it was a pretty sizable order.
It was a $10,000 piece of business that year.
So the power of the brownies. This is the power of those brownies, I'm telling you. Yeah, that's really cool. So it's interesting because, a lot of times we talk around here a lot about the power of the tangible touch. A lot of times, people are used to lots of phone calls, lots of voicemails, lots of emails, lots of anything digital. There's a lot of, you just have to filter through that stuff, but it's so unusual to get the tangible touch in the real mail, especially when brownies are attached.
Yes.
And, and again, talk about rapport building. It's just, there's some instant rapport building on that, which is really good. So you also, you do a lot with, you do a lot with thank you cards, not only after you get business, but this example is you sent a thank you card prior to getting business.
And I really want to emphasize that, Cody, because I then learned from that my own experience. And so about a month later, I again was networking, met a gentleman. He too said, call me the next morning. I'm interested, but I didn't call him the next morning. Instead, that evening, I went home and I sent the card and brownies. And sure enough, I also got hired. So I'm a big believer of paying it forward and being generous. And again, not self-promotion, but appreciation and acknowledgement goes a huge way, to getting business.
Okay, so I'm really interested. You gave two examples. The first example, you made the phone call, left a voicemail, and then sent the card and brownies. The second example, it was the opposite. You sent the card and brownies first. Can you, because people ask me this all the time, when do you do it this way? When do you do it that way? How did you know to send it either way in those cases? Was it just a hunch, or what? How did you determine to send the card first on one of them and make a phone call first on the other one?
So my business coach, and hopefully other people use coaches. I have several coaches. My business coach let me know that what is the lifetime value of a customer? So if the lifetime value of a customer, say over, maybe you provide a service and it's worth $1,000 and the person stays with you for 5 services, so it's $5,000 of business over a period of time. Well, he told me that I could spend up to $5,000 to attract somebody to me, because then it would be a break-even point. Well, $5,000 buys a lot of cards and brownies.
It sure does.
And I'm not saying that's how much the lifetime value is of a client for any one of us, but do the math for yourself. Chances are that a card and brownies, about $10, that's an amazing investment to get back X amount of dollars of business, not just once, but over the lifetime of your customer. And of course, I continue to send cards and brownies. And may I also say that second example, Cody, and I personalize my cards. I go to Facebook and I get a picture, usually their cover picture. Well, in this particular case, the second case I mentioned, the only picture I could find of this individual was with his children. I could not find a solo picture. And I was a little hesitant about mixing business with personal family stuff, but it was his only picture. And I took, like you said, I took the risk, and I had already had that conversation. I knew he was a good person that way. And he has that to this day hung on his bulletin board. And it made me realize in this digital age, as you said, we have so few tangible pictures of our children. So, of course, this Christmas, I sent him an updated picture of his kids, because kids grow.
It's interesting. You talk a lot about the power of that thank you card. And it's interesting coming from you, the rapport builder queen. I mean, you're the rapport builder queen, right? I mean, you teach people how to build rapport. 97% of business people never send a thank you card, but yet it's proven that it's the most effective touch you can send to a prospect or a customer. And here's what's interesting. Of the 97%, of the 3% that do send thank you cards, only 10% of those send a thank you card in the prospecting process. So even the people that have caught on to the power of the thank you card, for some reason, they're not sending it in the prospecting phase, which I think is really important. And I'm sure you teach that, is you got to build rapport with the person prior to the appointment. Mm-hmm. The warmer, so there's cold market people that don't know you at all. There's cool market people that know of you but don't like and trust you yet. And then there's warm market people that know, like, and trust you already. The whole process of prospecting, I think, is to get people from cold to cool and get people from cool to warm. The warmer they are, the more rapport you have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, and the warmer they are, the easier the sales process is. I love what you said is part of that is learning the personality style of that person. That's really powerful. I mean, it's just powerful stuff. There's a lot of other things you do. You you mentioned, obviously you do a lot of thank you cards. You look for Facebook events and you do impromptu cards. Can you share just an example of those?
Yeah, I definitely believe in impromptu cards. You wrote the book Promptings, and it speaks to me. And indeed, I try to follow those promptings. So throughout the day, throughout the week, people come to mind, past clients, current clients, friends, family members, business colleagues, and I like to send cards all the time. Last night was a great example. I was again at an event, and I met somebody, and I came home after the event, went to Facebook, grabbed a picture, put it in a card, and a few days later he'll be surprised by it. A new acquaintance, I don't even know that we'll ever do business together. That wasn't the point. The point is to build the relationship. And, sometimes we can be so tunnel vision that it's only the person we think can help us, and that's the one we're going after. But you know what? He has a network of 250 or more people he knows. And for all I know, as we build that relationship, he'll open the door, and he holds the key to many rooms that I haven't visited yet. Yeah. So that's what relationship marketing is all about. You focus on the relationship, and the marketing, the sales take care of itself.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's very, very powerful. Well, Dr. Nancy Zare, rhymes with care. We're so glad that you were on the show today. It's time for us to wrap up. I always like to ask final question. Any final words of wisdom from you? Anything that you would like to share with this audience today? That's how we'll close. So go ahead.
I truly want to share with you from my heart that when I first heard about this appreciation marketing system, honestly, I didn't get the appreciation part of it. I got the marketing, and I thought, oh, it's about self-promotion, and isn't that wonderful? And we could put branding on the back too. Well, guess what? I found out that it's about the appreciation. And if I can just encourage you to take the risk, to not think about what's in it for me, but simply to give from your heart, the promptings, whatever, pay it forward. I promise you, it will come back in spades.
Well, you all just heard that. That's from Dr. Nancy Zare with Rapport Builders out of Massachusetts. Thank you so much for being on our show with us today, Nancy. We appreciate
my pleasure
very much. And God bless everybody out there. Listen, at the end of the day, we're trying to teach people how to be nice to each other. That's what we do here. And we need a lot more of that in the world today. I was, my wife and I went out for Valentine's last night. We got smart. We go the night before now instead of on Valentine's with the rush. And we were waiting in line to get into the restaurant, a real popular restaurant downtown Salt Lake City. And we got a conversation going with an older couple who both had been psychotherapists for the past 40 years living in New York City, and they now live in Utah. It was fascinating to have a conversation with these two incredible people who have served the community with their expertise in psychotherapy for all of that time. And they were so passionate about sharing the thought that I like to share. They were so passionate about sharing how important it is that we celebrate each other's differences, because that's what life really is. It's not about sameness. It's about differences. Differences and bringing differences together is really what makes the world a special place. And it was such a wonderful thing to hear them share that. People we didn't know, but were just delightful. So anyways, God bless everybody. Appreciate you all. And we'll see you next week on another version of this show. Take care, everybody.